Welcome back to the lunch table, food for thought. I'm Nico Blitz. Make sure you hit that subscribe button just at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. We're also on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio app. And shout out to my next guest. Also shout out to David Duane for giving me maybe I don't know, 5, 6 of my last previous guests. All amazing singers, including my next guest. So I originally discovered him. He did a show with my homegirl Twee maybe about a month or so ago, and I was just like, yo, who is this cat? He actually has this project out called Destination Unknown, which I'm really digging for the sake of you don't know what life is going to bring you, and that's just the beauty of it. And that's essentially the idea that I got from his recent project. He goes by the name of Maurice Moore. What's poppin',
sir, man? I'm feeling great, man. Just got back to LA.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
So you were on tour.
I was on tour, and I was also I was in Korea doing some songwriting for some K-pop groups.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So were you writing in English, Korean?
Yeah, we usually write in English, and they have translators that come and change our lyrics to Korean, and then
Whoa.
yeah.
I don't know how that would work then because the rhyming schemes wouldn't be the same.
It's not the same. It's never the same. It always sounds doper in English. Always.
Yeah.
But what they do is they usually keep a 1-2 line that we have. Maybe in the chorus, if it was I love you, they'll actually say I love you.
Oh,
You know what I'm
okay.
saying?
Because whenever I do listen to particular K-pop songs, right, there's always maybe the last couple of bars or the last stanza of a bar that have English words.
Exactly.
And I'm like, why do they do that?
I think it's for that reason, just to
Okay.
keep it kind of relevant to the original.
I get it. Okay. That makes sense. So then what was that process like for you writing for K-pop stars? Was that your first time doing it?
It was actually my second time in Korea, and each time I feel like it's been a learning experience even for me as an artist, because K-pop is they take all the kind of genres of pop that you could possibly think of, the Backstreet Boys sound, but also like a Chris Brown modern R&B.
Yeah.
They kind of curate all those kind of modern pop sounds and try to incorporate it. So I really get to flex my writing muscles and try all the ideas that I can come up with.
That's insane, man.
yeah.
And I could see how that could drastically improve you as a writer, too.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy.
You know, the craziest thing that I've seen in terms of music was my girlfriend and I had went to a Japanese restaurant over in Little Tokyo in downtown
dope.
LA. And we're in a Japanese restaurant. They're playing K-pop, but the K-pop singers are singing in Spanish. It was the most mind-blowing thing I had seen in terms of music. I'm like, are we on Earth? Is the Earth flat? Is it round? I don't know what's going on right now.
That's
but it was
hilarious.
weird. But to me, it was it's crazy to see music evolve so much from,
yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming you're probably what, in your 20s?
Yeah, 22.
Oh, you're 20. So, okay. So 20 years ago, music was nothing like this, dog.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah. So, and you're also from Canada, right?
I'm from Canada, Ottawa, Ontario, Canada.
Okay, so
Yeah.
shout out to the Warriors whooping that ass in the last game. Hopefully, by the time you watch this video, the Warriors are.
All I gotta
3-peat.
say, raps in 6, baby. Raps in 6.
But so what kind of music were you listening to growing up in Canada? Because Drake and Justin Bieber and all them were not prominent back then.
They definitely weren't. I was mostly listening to. I mean, my family has kind of put me on to an eclectic sound of music, not just one genre. I was listening from country music, which most people would think, what the hell? But I was also listening heavy to Tupac and J. Cole were my favorite rappers in high school. And then I would definitely say Chris Brown was a big influence of mine. I studied that man. He was my biggest influence for a long period of time. Definitely in R&B, straight R&B heads Tank and Omarion.
Ooh.
And just
TGT?
TGT, man, you feel me? Definitely.
What you know about
what
that?
You know about? Y'all don't know nothing about that TGT. But yeah, man, definitely lots of R&B, lots of country music, lots of hip hop, just classic hip hop, 90s, early 2000s hip hop. But I really listen to everything, and I think that really is a testament to how Canada is as a musical landscape. It's really just, we don't have tons of Canadian artists to look up to as our example. We have all these international artists and American artists that we get to study.
Yeah.
So we kind of pull from everything, and I feel like that's what Canada's sound is.
I mean, I feel like America is really that country where music stems from. And
Yeah.
hip-hop being the biggest genre in the world that just picks apart from country, from pop, from everything. it only makes sense that countries like Canada or, you know, for my sake, countries like the Philippines pull from American music and get their influence.
Absolutely. Nah, for sure. And it really, America is the media power of the world. You know, that's where everyone is taking their inspiration from the music, from the fashion, from all like just culture in general. I feel like the Western world kind of dominates the narrative. So for us as Canadians, we definitely inspired by
So
the
then
Americans.
what is Canadian culture aside from the maple syrup and the Canadian bacon and hockey and A, and you guys say Z like Zed for some reason?
I say Z.
You say Z?
But all my family hates me for it. But I'm also a dual citizen, so there's that. I'm actually
there we
American
go.
too. But in Canada, I think what our culture is mostly the way that our social kind of environment is. Like, Canadians are very inclusive and very kind of considerate. You know, that classic like Canadian thing is like every Canadian says sorry for like things that they shouldn't be sorry for. But like it's also a testament to like how we function as a unit. Like culturally, we don't have the same boundaries as like Americans where it's all like race driven, like black versus white. In Canada, it's more unified, and I think that's what Canadian culture is all about. And I think that's not something that could be looked over because that's such a powerful thing, and it really changes the way that people interact with each other.
Yeah.
Changes the way that people can think, because we can think, I think, freely in Canada because everyone can have that cordial discord.
Well, it seems like more of a, I mean, to piggyback off of that, very much a unified type of place. I have a couple cousins who live over in Canada, and they tell me, they're just like, yo, we could legit leave the doors open.
Real talk.
And nobody's going to mug that. If anything, somebody's going to close the door.
I mean, don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's definitely the hood in Canada, contrary to popular belief.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think even amongst, like, low-income areas and people who are genuinely living in the hood, like I did growing up, it's still, like, not covered in, like, racial discrimination. It's like, if you're just a whack person, you're just a whack person. No one's going to tag you as, like, he's black or he's whatever, so he's whack, you know, like.
Man, it's no wonder once Donald Trump got elected, all of us wanted to move over there.
Hey, y'all, more than welcome, man. Pull up, baby.
Look, I got my cousin's house, so we can just go there.
I'll get you tickets to when the Warriors lose in
Man,
Toronto.
shut the fuck, man. See, that wasn't polite.
That was my American side.
Bro, man. Look, all I'm saying is, like, I think I was extremely shocked when I seen the video of the Canadians being extremely bad towards Aisha
Curry.
Yeah,
and
I was just like, yo, like, what is going on here?
Yeah, man.
It was just a weird thing because I think, as far as I know, and a lot of the Canadians who I have met have been extremely nice. But I will say this, I don't think because Toronto's had that basketball representation in terms of, like, the finals, I think they're just a little bit more
rowdy,
a little bit more passionate about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
It's been a long time coming, man. It's like we're literally witnessing history, you know? So it's definitely for us as Canadians, like, we're definitely still competitive. And I think that's what most people get twisted about Canadians is, like, we are definitely competitive. We definitely know how to put in that work. It's just we don't got to be assholes about it, you know?
Well, shit, hockey is a sport that I will never partake in because I see how rough Canadians go, and I'm just like,
it's crazy.
Hell nah.
For real. Hell yeah.
Have you ever played hockey?
I never played, like, organized hockey, but we would always play. We got what we call the ODR in Canada, which is the outdoor rink. So all the neighborhood, everyone pulls up to the ODR, and we go in.
Ooh.
But I'm a football guy. I grew up playing football. I was actually an All-American running back.
Oh, shit.
That was really my life before music. My first love was football. That was really what I was doing. That's my natural talent. But my heart just fell in love with music. And it kind of took me in this direction, so I listened to it, my intuition. But, you know, I still train to this day. I train with a lot of NFL guys still right now, Michael Kendricks at JLT in Hollywood. So I still love football. I'm still in the game. And it's something that you never know. You might see me suit up one of these days.
Well, I mean, honestly, if we're talking about, like, fitness and whatnot, Chris Brown has to be fit in order to do all the dance moves and sing at the same time.
Backflips and, like...
So, you know what I mean? The fact that you're still integrating your body into, like, a football mentality, it only benefits you later on when you're on stage.
Totally. It's also it's a confidence thing, I feel like. Like, athletes are unanimously, like, famous for being, like, overly confident.
Yeah.
But I think it just comes from, like, having mastery over your body is such, like, a powerful feeling of knowing, like, my body is going to do what I need it to do. And it's as simple as that, you know? Once you have that switch in your brain, you feel like you do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I have, like, a greater appreciation for athletes because, I mean, I was I was an athlete in high school, but then I stopped after sophomore year. But those 2 years of doing basketball straight, I'm just like, man.
You're like, I'm this shit, bro.
Yeah, I felt good about myself, and shout out to my body. I have the podcasting radio body right now.
Hey, that's in right now.
An extra like 10 pounds on me, you dig? But I remember being in college and just working out every other day.
Mostly.
Right? Every other day. And like, it's an ineffable feeling when you just have so much control over your body, and it seems like you have a greater control of your mind. So you kind of just feel like you can do anything you want.
The synergy, it comes together. Yeah, it's all connected, man. The body and the mind is very connected, and that's why I think having a capable body leads to you also being confident mentally, because it's all connected, man. It starts with the body. The body holds the mind. So you got to nurture the body and take care of it. And that's not just fitness, but it's also like the food that you eat, the content that you consume. Like, what are you watching on Instagram? Like,
so what kind of food do you eat?
I'm a vegan, man. 6 years.
That's what I figured, man.
Yeah.
As soon as he said the food that you eat, I'm like,
I hate
this
word
fool
vegan.
does not eat red meat, bro.
I hate the word vegan, because I feel like it comes with like all these like expectations of what a vegan is, and like vegans are like so hardcore and annoying about it. But honestly, I don't really care what other people do. Like, I just encourage everyone to like be the best version of themselves, and obviously that looks different for everybody.
I do want to talk about veganism because we don't touch on this topic too much.
Okay,
when did you get into that?
6 years ago. I was in 11th grade.
Damn, so 22.
Or 5 years ago.
So you were what, 18?
I think I was
16.
16.
Damn, you were in high school? High schoolers are going vegan now? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So then why did you decide to take that switch?
Well, initially, it had nothing to do. Like, nowadays, you'll see people, like, they saw the documentary of, like, something on Netflix, and they're like, all right, I'm vegan now. And it's like, they're not really grounded in it, And anyone that's vegan, great. That's awesome. More vegans, the better. But for me, it definitely started, like, on a spiritual tip. I felt like I was starting to kind of question the world that I was living in at 16, and starting to see things differently. Like, I remember sitting in class one time, and, like, the bell rang, and everyone like just stood up at the exact same time and just robotically moved to the door. And I think in that moment, like, something clicked to me. Like, not everything that is happening is like necessarily the way that it's supposed to be. And I was like, I'm sitting in this class, I'm thinking about other things, deeper thoughts. And one of those thoughts was like, what am I putting into my body? And how is it affecting the world that I live in? How is it affecting my mind? And I came across veganism. And also the spiritual practices that come along with that, like Buddhism and Hinduism, which I was very drawn towards. I wouldn't call myself a Buddhist or a Hindu, but I feel like a lot of the practices.
I didn't even realize there was a correlation between the two.
There is. I mean, a lot of Buddhists are vegan. A lot of Hindus are vegan as well, or vegetarian. They say that the food that you eat has a spiritual charge. So if you're eating like an animal that was like angry and sad and in fear when it was dying, you kind of consume that energy. And that just really resonated with me. And like when I became vegan, I definitely feel like that became even more true, because I just felt like more, I don't know what the word is, like lighter and just more clear, like more unified with the world,
so
and the universe.
What's your daily palette of food?
I'm a high protein guy because I'm training a lot. So I'm a vegan athlete first and foremost, and so that means that I need to get my protein. So for me, I'm eating lots of black beans, lots of lentils, definitely tons of fruits. That's where I get most of my carbohydrates from. And I love avocados. Really, man, like vegan, like a lot of the foods that you eat in a standard American diet can be made vegan very easily, like hamburgers or tacos and like stuff like that. I make all the time, and it's like just the vegan version. Yeah.
That's so interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because I think going back to your point when the bell was ringing and everyone stood up, I think from birth we're trained to eat red meat. We're trained to eat whatever comes our way.
Yeah.
And I mean, whether it be due to poverty or due to whatever's accessible.
Yeah.
In terms of like a cultural aspect, like Filipinos love pork, bro. Like
Hell
I've been eating pork since I was like, I don't know, 3, 4.
And it's good, man.
And it's good. Really good.
It's good.
But I think now we're definitely in the time in which we do start questioning these things, and it's like, why do we eat pork? Why do we kill animals? Because essentially what I learned a while ago was that animals get their protein from the plants.
Yeah, unless they're a carnivore, but most of the animals we eat are herbivores. Yeah.
So when my friend, who's also vegan, brought this up to me, he was like, yeah, so if we get the protein from the plants, why don't we just eat the plants?
Yeah, exactly. Why not just go straight to the source?
It makes sense. And he also said something that blew my mind, which was, think about the biggest monkey in the jungle, right? It's a gorilla.
Yeah.
And that motherfucker's buff.
Hell yeah.
All it eats is plants.
Real talk.
I'm just like, bruh, that shit doesn't make sense, but it does.
It's just like, what?
Yeah. I mean, man. I'm not saying this is my way. I'm not saying, yo, I'm going to be vegan now, but it's like, you know, it makes sense when you think about these things.
Yeah, it definitely makes you think, for sure. And I think that's ultimately, like, what we want people to do is just think, you know, be a free thinker. Don't let society dictate like what is right and what is wrong. Like, actually question things and come to your own conclusions.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me how you started questioning yourself at 16, because I feel like society nowadays, we don't start questioning things until after college, when we're trying to figure our lives out and whatnot.
Yeah.
But that was such a young age for you to get to that point.
Well, you know what I think it was? I remember, so I was 16 and I got a scholarship to play football at this private school. And it was nothing like what I was accustomed to in my life. You know, like I said, like growing up in a very low income area, in a public school, one of the like most like notoriously hood schools in my city. And it was just going from like one world and one extreme to the next, being with like all the preppy, like super rich kids, like Frank Ocean, super rich kids, you know what I'm saying?
Shit.
And like, I think I just like, it hit me. Like there was things that I had believed about myself that weren't true. And I learned that being in that environment. And there were also things that I realized that they got twisted too, being in like a spoiled environment. So I kind of started putting like things together and I was like, oh, I think both of us got some shit fucked up, but like the truth is somewhere over here. And so I just started trying to find it. And
I can see that, because you said you came from a more low income area, right?
Yes, sir.
So then you coming from a more low income area, then getting exposed to where essentially everybody's coming from a higher income area, it makes you question that even more. Like, not necessarily like, why am I here? But then, you know, it's like, why are you both here at the same time? Because you guys come from completely different worlds.
Yeah.
And how does a situation like that even happen?
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. And it was really the first time that I ever experienced like any type of discrimination in my life. Like, I never like saw that, because like I said, where I was from, like everyone was like very unified. But when I got to the private school, it was like, it wasn't about race as much as it was like,
classism.
We know that you're the scholarship kid, you know, we know that you're not actually supposed to be here. It's just because you're some like football player. And like, so I felt that, you know, it was the first time that I felt that, and that like really just made me question everything. I was like, why is it like this? You know, why are some people like so fortunate to have all these things, but they actually might have less understanding of like real life, you know? And I was like, So, I mean, that was all it really was. And like I said, my parents, man, like I feel like they never talked to me like I was like a complete baby. Like they always was talking to me like a real conversation, especially my mom, who was like always trying to get me to chase my dreams and like do things as hard as I could. She would always ask me the question, like, why do you want to do that, you know?
Well, I've noticed that people who come from a more impoverished area, they are more willing to take a risk because they have nothing else to lose,
man.
Whereas for somebody like a super rich kid, Frank Ocean type person, they have everything to lose.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's with having everything to lose, you also kind of have a safety net to lay back on.
Absolutely.
And I mean, it's just that contradiction. I don't know, man. I don't know where we're at, but yes.
This is high conversations with Maurice Moore.
I feel like we're kind of high right now, because I mean it. Oh, man.
Nah, man.
Doesn't it just like get you how the world works? It's like you can have so much on your plate, but not even realize what's on your plate.
Yes, man. No, real talk. It's like, I feel like our egos are so involved when it comes to like how we understand the world. You know what I'm saying? Like oftentimes like our identity is wrapped up in like our neighborhood that we grew up with. You know, we feel like that's us and that will always be us, or like our race, or, you know, our bloodline. Like there's just so many things that like blind us from reality because we buy into this identity of like, this is who I am.
Damn.
It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Damn.
sometimes you just gotta, like I said, you gotta deduct all this like social programming and like, who am I? Like, who the fuck am I? Like, And it takes time. Like, it's hard to do when you're distracted by cell phones and Instagram. And I'm guilty of this myself. I'm not perfect. That's that for damn sure. But, you know, I'm trying to figure out
But
as much
I feel
as
like
I
that's
can.
an answer that we can never come up with at any point in our life. You know, I think we can always get a good grasp of like who we are and what we're trying to do. But I mean, just as your album depicts, it's like I think the beauty comes in not ever knowing what the fuck is going on.
Exactly.
But paying attention to it is the best thing.
Exactly. And most people are not. Most people are just too in the loop of like this shit, the day to day. But man, like this is the stuff everyone needs to be talking about, real talk, because I feel like a lot of the issues that we face personally in our own lives can be solved if we just like actually attended to the issue at hand.
Yeah, because I mean, with the amount of things going on in the world, I know right now like there's some shit going down in Sudan.
Oh yes.
You know what I mean? And that shit's happening, and at the same time, like we're also trying to maneuver through our own daily lives. And, you know, like black people get shot every day type of shit. And it's like my point being, there's so many things happening in the world. It's the difficult part is trying to balance between what you care about. Do I care about myself today? Do I care about the people in Sudan today? How do I split that evenly?
Yeah.
You know, how do I make sure I'm not like an asshole about this? How do I make sure I don't feel guilty about this because I have to keep on moving on through my day?
Yeah.
And it's all these questions that I find myself wrapped up in where I'm just like, yo, like I just want to decompress, smoke some weed, maybe have a beer, you know, and you know, even that you get guilty in itself. Yeah.
These are the conversations, man. And it's like you said, there is no right or wrong way. That's sometimes I feel like not even the right way to look at it. It's like it's a very complex equation, and it takes each situation day to day. We have to understand our circumstance and just go with what is necessary at that moment, I feel like.
Amen to that.
Amen.
So then when did you understand this circumstance, the fact that you wanted to pursue music as a career?
Wow. I think for me, like I said, football was my first love, and I think I started rapping in like
rapping.
That's where it all began. And I still get down.
Maurice Moore bars.
Yeah,
what up?
Hell yeah. I definitely started, hip hop was probably my biggest influence. Even in making R&B music now, like it's always coming from like a very hip hop kind of place in my heart. But I always loved it. From the moment like we would be making beats on the table, we got the pens, we'd be like,
hey,
you know, just we would be freestyling at lunchtime, and even in class, we get kicked out of class like all the time for making beats and freestyling. But that's where I found my love for music, was through hip hop and battle scene. I was always battling. I was at like
Canada actually has a King of the Dot, right?
King of the Dot.
Did you ever attend one of those?
I never. Well, actually, I've been to a battle, but I haven't competed in one. But King of the Dot is definitely lit, and no, that's definitely a big thing in Canada, is like battle rap and just like straight real like grungy hip hop.
Man.
Yeah.
That's how I knew Canada had the rap scene on lock, bro. Because I was like, yo, this shit happened before Drake. This shit happened before all of this shit. And like, and for me, I grew like a greater appreciation of battle rapping and like lyricism because I kept on watching King of the Dot videos.
Yeah, man. King of the Dot like just has produced so many like just fire rappers, and like you said, man, like lyricism, like I think that's where I got it from, like was from watching these battle rappers and the way they were able to like rebuttal what somebody says. That shit would blow my mind. But that was, like I said, that was where I found love for music, and I think from that point my competitive football spirit leached in, and that combination for me is like I loved music, but I also really wanted to be good at it, and that is like my driving force. It's not like getting famous or like getting hella likes on Instagram. It's like I want to be the best. I want people to know I'm the best. So I'm going out there and I'm just trying to get better every day. I'm in the studio like God knows how many hours a day, just trying to refine my craft.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what like made me want to do it. But it was always competing with football. So my parents would always ask me like, so what do you want to do? Like, and it was just football. I would say football, but in my heart, I knew I something was there for music that I wanted to pursue even more. But it wasn't until I got on my freshman year of college, on a football scholarship. And I remember going to tell my coach after my first semester, and I was like, I think I'm going to drop out.
Whoa.
And there was a lot of rage and passion in that conversation.
Damn, that's crazy.
And it was just, I knew in my heart, man, like I remember like being in practice and like just even like in my helmet, just running around, just like humming melodies and just like, it was all I wanted to do. All I was thinking about was being in the studio and writing and making music. So eventually I just listened to what my intuition was telling me, and I dropped out. I moved back home to Canada. It was quite embarrassing for a little while to feel like everyone thought I was like a failure, like he dropped out of college, football scholarship, like he probably like got bad grades. I got pretty good grades, by the way. But nah, man, and that was like a real test of my own perseverance. And I just started putting in the work, and a couple years later, I moved to LA.
Well, you know what I appreciate about that the most? Because I've heard conversations in which people are athletes and always have had music like dormant within them. And then usually the case is an injury happens or they get red-shirted for a while, then they just can't even play anymore. But your situation is, no, you had your scholarship going. You just felt that it wasn't the right thing to continue doing, despite how good you were.
Yeah, man.
Like, you know what I mean? It's just a different ass story, bro. That shit's crazy to me.
Yeah, man. Honestly, but that's what I always say is like to most people, I feel like we silence our intuition to listen to other people sometimes. But like at the end of the day, I have to live with my decisions.
Yes.
So I'm just going to leave it at that, you know?
Amen to that.
Yeah.
So you tell your school, I'm not playing football anymore. You go back home to Canada. You tell them you're not playing football anymore. How long before you actually move out to LA?
So I dropped out in 2014, and that would have been, I moved to LA about a year ago, just over a year ago. So 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, about 3 years.
So you spent 3 years in Canada.
3 years in Canada grinding, man. I got a part-time job serving popcorn at a movie theater.
Hey, there we go.
And yeah, man, just at the crib every day, just like in my bedroom, just writing. And kind of like halfway through there, I got introduced to Kehlani, and her and I kind of bonded over the music.
Oh, like personally?
Yeah, personally.
How'd that happen?
I made this song called Typhoon, which was kind of, inside the song, I had like a bunch of like references to like these Kehlani songs. And when I dropped it, like all of her fans like started tagging her in it, and she saw it, and she's like, yo, like, you're so dope. Like, I really fuck with your vibe and your energy. And I think like a couple days later, I was in LA, and we were in the studio together with Wale, actually. And it was just a crazy, it was kind of crazy. It really happened so fast. And at the time, I was like, I had just like been really diving into Kehlani's music, and I really messed with it. I felt like she was almost like a female version of myself. So many similarities in the way that we hear music and the way that we feel music and just the way we look at the world. So it just ended up being this partnership. And I don't know if you ever heard of like Tsunami Mob.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was a part of the Tsunami Mob for a couple years.
Oh, shit.
And we did some touring together, and we actually we did a record together that is called Awesome, which is out. And yeah, I mean, we just built a really good friendship, and she became kind of like my first like real friend out here in LA to kind of help me navigate through this. I mean,
that's a really good friend to be tapped in with.
No, Kehlani's a really dope person.
Wow. First of all, it's another Bay Area, Toronto
Bay Area,
contradiction.
baby. I told you, man.
But second of all, I think what's cool about that in particular is the fact that I definitely see similarities between you two. So like the union of you both is nothing short of perfect in my eyes.
That's dope.
And so then how long, I'm assuming you're not part of Tsunami Mob anymore.
I would more call myself like, I will always be like a honorary Tsunami Mob member. Like those are my peoples. You know, like I said, they had my back in this industry since I got to LA for the first time.
Yeah.
And really just showed me like what was really up with this industry and like what not to do. And like all those nitty gritty things that you have to face as an artist.
What was the what not to do that you learned?
You know, sometimes you gotta play the game. You gotta know when to shut up. You gotta know when to talk and when not to talk. When your opinion is okay to express, and when you kind of sometimes need to take the advice of other people who might actually know better for you in that moment. Because like I said, the ego is the killer. Because as artists, we're so close to our art. And that's our ego, because it's like our identity. It's like, if you don't like my music, you don't like me. But it's not always like that. Sometimes you just have to embrace your team and be be a team player.
I mean, music is a conversation essentially, and if the message isn't communicated directly amongst each other, it's like you can talk yourself into something so much, but unless the other person gets it, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, what do you mean?
What are you trying to accomplish?
What are you trying to say?
Yeah, man. So I would say like that's the biggest thing I learned from Kehlani and the whole Tsunami experience. And Kehlani's still a friend of mine to this day. I'm just, like I said, I'm a very independent person, and I like to I wanted to kind of forge my own path. And Kehlani was someone who really allowed me to do that, and didn't try to like force me to do anything, which is why I always have that immense respect for Kehlani.
And I gotta ask this: do you have any music in the bag with her that you're just like, that's just like locked in the chamber somewhere?
I do have a song that's locked in the chamber with Kehlani, and I hope it comes out someday.
Is it your song, her song?
It's our song.
It's our song. Oh shit. Okay. Well, I mean, if you drop it now, I mean, you never know. That shit.
Yeah, but label politics, label bullshit, and that's just like the classic,
of course,
music industry shit. So, we'll see if
that comes out. Are you independent right now?
I'm completely independent.
Dude. Shout out to you, man.
Thank you, man.
And the reason why I asked that is because a lot of up and coming artists have this mentality of, I'm gonna get signed, I'm gonna get my advance, buy a chain, wooty woo. Good, that's great. That's great to have. Yeah. However, like I think where independent artists really have it going is that if you can build a buzz on your own, the label's just really there to like extend your reach.
Exactly.
And put you out there. But,
exactly.
I mean, the way the record label industry is built up is, I feel like, based off the people who I've been working with.
Yeah.
It's built to kind of just like keep you there and keep you just for that one single that you've made, and they milk the fuck out of that.
Yeah.
And you're basically stuck to a deal that you don't want to be stuck to anymore.
You probably can't even release music.
Yeah.
Unless the label approves. It's.
So what benefits have you seen for yourself as an independent artist?
There's pros and cons. I'm gonna keep it 100. Like, when you're with the label, like you said, like you get the bag. And the bag can do a lot to advance your career when it comes to like trying to get promotion and trying to get radio and trying to get like the support of like big publications and stuff like that. But I think for me, my thing is like I'm not necessarily in a rush to get to where I'm trying to go. I'm definitely working every day very hard, like day and night, but it's more just I have the freedom to make my decisions of how I want to go about doing things. No one can tell me like, no, you can't release this, or like, no, this is the single. It's like, no, I have that freedom, and I like that as an artist because I'm not the most agreeable person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I usually know what I want, and that doesn't always blend well with a label that has differing opinions on what is gonna go down.
Well, even so, like, what's a single nowadays?
Yeah.
Are you making a single for the radio, or are you making a single for the people? Because you can make a single for the radio and get a Just Us like DJ Khaled, or you can get an Earthquake from Tyler, the Creator, and still go #1.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's kind of the approach that I grew up like seeing artists like The Weeknd and Frank Ocean, who are some of my biggest influences, and it's like these artists like did it their way. And I think like seeing that just made me realize that it's actually possible, first and foremost. And two, it's like these are some of the most creative artists that we have today. And that's the kind of artist I want to be. I don't want to be in a box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see how they've mastered themselves and their creative aspects so well to where a label's like, well, shit, we're going to have to pay you even more now.
Yeah.
Not just sign you when you had, like, I don't know, 10,000 followers. And it's like, yeah, we're just going to milk this guy right now.
Yeah, nah. Exactly. And that's I'm gonna come to a label maybe eventually when I feel like I've reached a point where, like, I have a little more leverage as to what can go down in terms of the terms, because that's a label thing. If any new artist, I would tell you, man, unless the deal, the terms are very specifically in your favor, I probably wouldn't sign the deal. Because don't get it twisted, I've had many major label offers, but I've turned down all of them.
He said that so nonchalantly. So let's talk about the music, man.
Yeah,
Destination Unknown.
Unknown.
How long was the process to create Destination Unknown?
That was actually probably like the quickest project I've ever made, compared to like my first EP, which took me God knows how long to make. This one took me a couple months, maybe like 3-4 months of just reflection, because I had just moved to LA. My whole life was kind of, I don't want to say in shambles, but everything was changing. I was in a new place. I had just got out of a 5-year relationship.
Jeez.
And so I just had a lot of things like to deal with. And it just made me feel like kind of lost. I was like, damn, like, where am I going? Like, I want to do this music, but I'm like sad and I'm like happy. And it's just so much going on that I had to really process. And I think that's why it was so easy for me to write, because it was just so on my heart. It just needed to get out or I was going to explode. And just God knows what could have happened, you know. But thankfully I have music as an outlet. So I just put it out in the music.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Because you literally had to take yourself out of home where you were familiar with for 20-something years, you know, like at least 18 years. And then you move to a place that's completely different and everything is just moving like this and like that.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And, you know, so is it much slower in Canada compared to LA? LA is pretty fast.
Yeah, it's definitely slower. It's like here there's just like musicians and actors and dancers and all this stuff going on in LA. But in Canada, like there is that, but it's way less. It's way toned down. Here, everyone's doing it. So it's like I'm just surrounded by like that motivation. And it's always been inside of me, but here it's like turn up the knob to like 9,000.
Do you feel like that you have an upper hand considering that there aren't too many artists from Canada?
To be honest, like I feel like being Canadian isn't my advantage. Like, I mean, in terms of like the way I see the world, maybe that gives me an upper hand. But I think in a sense, my biggest advantage is like my work ethic, you know, because I'm not a natural singer. I started out rapping. Like I always loved R&B music, but I wasn't out here.
Cherry Bomb, man. You were hitting the triplets in there, and I was like, oh, okay. You know, he got a little flair in him. And then he just goes off singing like some 8 bars of just, and I'm just like, oh, shit. What just happened here?
But that took time, bro. Like, singing was like something I had to really work for and like really try to get better at. So, yeah, I feel like my work ethic is my biggest advantage more than anything.
So, okay, I don't even think I asked you this. Then what triggered your change from rapper into singer? You know, what gave you the T-Pain singer turned rapper?
Listen. I went to a school with a lot of very beautiful women.
I love it. I'm done.
Bruh. when women react to your music, it just does something different to you, man. And like I'm a Cancer, so I'm like hella sensitive, hella emotional, and I always connected a lot with women. So when I just was able to see how females reacted to the music, I think it just like made me fall in love with music in a new way. Because I just saw it could be deeper than just me being the best and being like good. It was like, oh, like I can actually like express myself through this music, and female energy just really had a big part in like that transition. My sister though was the big singer in my family. She's like,
oh wow,
she's way better than me, and she taught me how to sing. And we were in a group together for a couple years when I first started singing.
What was the group called?
Retro Future.
Retro Future.
Retro Future.
Y'all music still up?
You could probably find it somewhere, man.
Retro
Future.
So then, what does your sister think of you really pursuing this career?
She's so supportive. She's still very much a part of my career. She was in LA not too long ago. We write together. She's still doing music as well. So we kind of work together and collaborate still to this day.
That's tight, man.
Yeah.
It's good to keep it in the family for sure.
Always, man. And my brother, too, is a crazy producer. So he's been producing a lot of my records.
Yeah, man. Y'all could really just make money together as a family.
The Jackson 3.
The Jackson 3? Oh, the More 3.
The More 3.
Something like that. I don't know. If y'all do that, you guys got to give me like 5%.
I got you,
bro. So, Destination Unknown. You know what's crazy? I'm listening to the project, and shout out to Brown Boy Maj. He just released his project, I Hate You to the Moon and Back, and he actually, the title track sounds like this. Not like that.
Oh, my God.
This is the title track, The Moon and Back.
The Moon and Back.
And I was like,
who is that?
Brown Boy Maj.
That's crazy.
I'll just play it until he hits like his first couple notes.
Someone asked me if I knew you. I told them that I used to.
It's good though. It's good.
I was like, so I'm over here listening to a Destination Unknown, and then all you hear on Cut Me Loose is. And I was like,
That's crazy.
I was in the car like, what the fuck is going on here?
To be honest with you, man, like I feel like that's probably a guitar sample that we both sampled because like the Splice era, man. Like everyone's using different.
Was that off Splice?
Yeah, the guitar.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, I'm not
That's
even.
insane.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think the point, the point that I was trying to get to was that the way I see both of you are both artists who I really feel like can make your own names for yourselves, right?
Oh,
like
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
like to compare. I wouldn't compare either of you as like the blah blah, like the next blah 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 or the next blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
But to see that the creative aspect of just that guitar sample can go on two different tracks.
Yeah.
It kind of solidifies it even more. Like, wow, these are two really creative motherfuckers who have no clue. Like, they don't
that's
even know
crazy.
each other.
I'm about to.
exist.
That actually sounded dope. I'm about to listen.
Yeah,
to that.
man. So, shout out to both of you, man, because
Yeah,
I'm
man.
over here like, as a DJ, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Now I can mix both of these. Motherfuckers gonna look at me like, oh shit, how do you do that?
That's crazy. Yeah. My boy Maurice on the verse.
Right? And then just like do that. But yeah, man, I would highly suggest everybody listen to Destination of Unknown.
Please do.
Really dope project. Afterwards, for like 2019, I know it's like June already. We're halfway done through the year.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else planned for the project or anything else new coming up?
Right now, man, honestly, I'm working on a whole new body of work. That's gonna be really special. That's gonna be my best work to date. And I mean, Destination Unknown, I'm still like moving it and still getting it around, but I'm really trying to get ready for this new chapter, man, because I've been going through so much since I moved here and so many new stories and experiences that I'm just ready to share and pull from. So just expect more new music, new projects on the way, and definitely some more live dates. I've been doing a handful. Like I said, I was doing a little tour, so definitely more live dates to be announced.
Amen to that.
Amen.
Any features aside from the potential Kaylani on there?
I definitely, I got one with my brother, Nobody. I don't know if you know Nobody, but he's a really dope artist from New York.
Hey, fuck Nobody. That's my guy.
Me and Nobody. Esther, I got some dope stuff with Esther.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, man, shout out to the Bay.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man, I definitely got a lot of little stuff in the work. I'm gonna take my time with letting everybody know, but I'll leave y'all with that for now. But
Hey, man, I'll take it. I'll take whatever you can give. Maurice Moore, where can everybody find you, bro?
On Instagram, it's at Maurice Moore, and on Twitter, it's at Maurice XIII. And everywhere else, it's Maurice Moore. So check me out.
And before we leave, has anybody ever told you look like Ben Simmons? Because
I've never heard that one,
never.
bro.
Do you know what Ben Simmons looks like?
What does Ben Simmons look like? Pull
Bro.
that up.
And because I kept on looking at you, and I'm just like, wait, he looks like somebody familiar.
Fellow Team Light Skin, I'm assuming.
Yeah, well, 100%. 100%.
Oh, you know what? That's crazy. That's crazy. That's probably my low-key cousin, bro.
That's just crazy.
Wow.
Well, we're going to end it right there. This is The Lunch Table. Food for thought. I'm Nico
Food for
Blitz.
thought, baby.
Maurice Moore, Destination Unknown. And we are out, everybody. Peace.